What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me, on what's turned out to be a really nice day. Started out pretty cold this morning, kind of cloudy. The clouds were supposed to move in later in the day, but it seems like it's done the opposite out here. Got the sun out here keeping me kind of warm, so it's been some really nice testing. And for this one right here, we're checking out a couple of 10mm birds of prey. So of course, the jelly contraption's out here putting in work with the 2 chronos and a couple of blocks of gel. Now I've done a couple of tests already. This far block is full. This front block unfortunately has a couple of tracks going almost all the way through it because of some terrible 40 that I tested. I'll leave a link above if y'all hadn't seen that one, but I think I should have plenty of room to sneak these rounds into the clear spaces good enough where we can see what they do. And of course, I'm using my heavy clothing barrier out here that's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. So what we're checking out here are a couple of 10mm rounds from Aria Ballistic Engineering. These were actually sent to me by John, or John had them send them to me, so I really appreciate that. I've actually got a couple more from them also. He had them send me a couple more rounds, and I ordered one of these, and they sent me something else to test out too, another 10mm that I'm really interested in seeing, so stay tuned for that stuff coming. But for this one right here, we're checking out their Raptor and Hawk rounds. Now the Raptor here is a 150 grain copper projectile. It's a copper expander. They're saying 1450 feet per second out of this, so that would give you your 700 foot-pounds. Now they better be pretty close to that, because if you drop down, I mean, if that stuff even is moving, you know, 1350 or so, that's going to drop it down to probably under 600. So very curious to see what kind of speeds we get out of those. And then for the Hawk here, this is something probably more my style. This is a 200 grain lead expander, just a conventional type of lead hollow point there, you can see. Now this is saying 1275 feet per second. So if they can get close to that, now I'm sure this is probably out of 5-inch barrels or maybe even longer. So I don't expect to see these. That's why I'm kind of, you know, bumping it down to what I should get to still keep these foot-pounds of energy where I expect them to be. One other interesting thing I noticed on their ammo is they put that TKO on there. I think that's the Taylor knockout formula, something like that. It's a formula where you take and measure the weight times the velocity times something else, and then divide it by some number that they've got set in the formula. It's basically a formula that's designed to give you a stopping power of hunting rounds. I don't think I've ever seen that used on any other round I've tested, so I thought that was pretty interesting. They've got a TKO on this 150 Raptor of 12, and then a TKO of 14 on this 200 Hawk. And then of course what I'm running these through is the same thing I test all my 10mm with. It's the Glock 20 Gen 4 with the roughly 4.5-inch barrel on it. So this should be an interesting one. Y'all know how I am about 10mm. I'm very picky. I'm very critical of it. So hopefully this stuff right here will show me something good. Let's get this stuff set up and let's see what it does. All right, y'all, a little delay of game here. I just got done editing this video and I thought a little update clip was appropriate for this right here. So it's gonna be some spoilers, unavoidable, but there was some issues with this stuff right here, namely the Hawk round. So you're gonna see some wild velocity spreads out of this stuff, and you're gonna see some verification clips. And this is something I do anytime I get wild spreads or something like that. I always off a camera verify this. I'm not just willy-nilly going with something that's just really crazy out of the way, you know what I'm saying? So I know I get comments all the time, is this correct? You know, I'm doing this video to kind of go ahead and get ahead of all the comments that I know I'm going to see, blaming the equipment, blaming this, that, and the other thing. But it's very plain to see in that video. I did plenty of rounds and you can hear it. You can literally hear the difference in the rounds. You can see the sound barriers right around 1,050, 1,100 feet per second, depending on your elevation and atmospheric conditions. So you can hear the difference in those ones that broke that barrier and the ones that didn't own the video even. So now it's your prerogative to blame it on the tool I'm using or whatever else you want, but I'm telling you right now, the results that you're gonna see are absolutely correct. Y'all know I do these tests the same exact way with the same exact equipment, same exact tools. I hadn't had any problem with this lab radar or any of the other chronos I've got that testing day or any of the other tests, even the same rounds in this same test. There was no issues with, so it was just these rounds. So if you really want to try to claim that this lab radar had a selective malfunction moment in just that moment with just that round, then by all means go ahead. But I'm telling you right now, that ain't the case. Now, as far as the actual performance of both of these rounds in the gel, I stick beside exactly everything I said about both of them. Neither one of them would be for me. And even if you want to claim these things are hunting rounds, and you know, you can say this Hawk would have expanded, hit hitting bone, hitting this, hitting that and the other thing, but I still want a hollow point round to expand. I've had other hunting rounds have absolutely no problem doing their thing in this gel. And the last thing I really want to mention in this little update here is the fact that I have actually contacted Jason at Aria, the owner of Aria. You know, I've got an apology, definitely sorry, not the impression they want to make. He's offered to replace the ammo, which I don't care about that. Now, this particular was sent to me by John, so I don't know what he thinks about that, but any of the ammo I do in this testing, I wouldn't care if they replaced it, even if it wasn't up to speed. That's not what I buy this stuff for. I wouldn't have went out and bought this myself. I wouldn't go out and buy 80% of the ammo I buy, so I'm not looking for free ammo or to get money back from ammo by any means. But he did genuinely seem concerned about what's going on with this. I have no doubt that they didn't purposely do this. There was something wrong somewhere, whether it's a bad component, whether it was in the loading process. I have no idea myself. All I can tell you and show you is what I got from it. But he is pulling some samples from this same lot and doing some testing. Wants me to send what I have back to him. I only have 4 left. Y'all saw in the video I ran the rest of them, so it may not even be worth sending these 4 back. But in any case, they are definitely concerned about it and want to see what's going on. Again, y'all have heard me say this in the past. I'm not out here looking to make any company look bad, any ammo look bad. I'm simply testing this stuff the same way I test every other round and showing y'all what I get. So anyway, I just felt like it was appropriate to stick this little update clip in the video. We'll get back to it and I'll let y'all see what y'all think. All right, let's see how fast these birds are flying, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each one. We'll start with this 150 grain Raptor first. Remember, the box on this is claiming 1450, so much less than that, and I don't know. If y'all not familiar with this lab radar, again, like I always mention, you're gonna get multiple numbers off this thing. Your large numbers, your muzzle velocity, the 5 across the bottom. You got one set at 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet. And then you've got 10, 15, 25, and 50. So again, this box is saying 1450. I'm looking for a minimum 1400. I mean, I want to fit the 1450 to get to 700, but I know that's not gonna happen out of this G20. We got 1382, 1358, 1350, 1355, and 1345. So 1350, I think that puts us below 600 foot-pounds. You know, some people are probably going to be okay with that. I'm personally not okay with that. From a 150 grain projectile, I definitely want more than that. But let's see what the average is. All right, so our 5-round average right there was 1358. So that does put us just over 600 foot-pounds of energy, I believe. So it's by no means terrible. Don't get me wrong when I start on this 10 mil. Y'all know how I am about 10 mil. I certainly want more than this. To me, that's not enough out of a 150 grain projectile, but 1358 on the average. We had an extreme spread of 37 and a standard deviation of 14.4. So again, I personally want more than that, but I know some people are fine with that, and that probably is within the accepted 10 millimeter spread or range. So let's get this stuff reset and let's see what happens with the 200. All right, let's see what these 200 grain Hawks can do, y'all. Now, remember the box on these is saying 1275, which I know we're not gonna see based on what we just saw between the box difference and what I got out here with those Raptors. I'm guessing we won't break 1200. I'd like to see about 1225. If I see 1225, I'll be very happy with this. Honestly, at this point, if I see 1200 out of any 200 grain 10 mil, I'll be happy. So let's see what happens, y'all. 5-round average on this one also. $11.34, $10.95, $12.06, $12.09, $12.24. Now we talking right here, buddy. $12.42, $11.83, $12.08. That one felt a little off, and $10.87. 1074. 1089. Ooh, that one felt spicy. 1214. That one felt spicy too. 1209. And so did that one. 1218. Those first two felt definitely off from those last three, and you could see it in the chrono there. And it's not just it's no kind of error, because I could feel the difference. Those last three definitely felt stronger. That being said, that looks pretty good on them last three. Let's check the average out. All right, so with those rounds being so vastly different from the first two and the last three, we got a big old spread out of that, and it messed the average up. So our average, with that, all that being said, is 1161, which is definitely lower than I want to see out of 200 grain. Now, that being said, it's still faster. Even if you take that 1161, it's still faster than the 200 grain HST I just tested. That tells you how bad these companies water down 200 grain 10 mil. So 1161 there. We had a high of 1218, which is nice, and then a low was 1074, and then y'all saw we had another low one for whatever reason. And again, I could feel the difference. That's not just numbers on the screen being messed up or this chrono messing up. I could literally feel the difference in them rounds. So gave us a big old extreme spread of 144 and a standard deviation of 72.8. So I would say maybe it's the barrel that caused the first two to be slower, but I felt the difference in those rounds. So I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, 1161 right there is out of 61 or 51. Yeah, 1161. And if you remember on those Raptors, it was 1358. So really doesn't matter the difference there because of the big difference in weights there. Just something to look at. As far as what these are going to do in the gel, I think those coppers are going to do a great job in the gel, no doubt about it. Those copper expanders always look pretty nice. As far as these 200 grain Hawks, I'm hoping we get around on the higher end of that velocity verified here by this optical chrono. Either way, they're probably going to do a good job in the gel. Those projectiles look very, very basic though, so hopefully they do really good. Let's get this stuff set up, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's flying high jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each into the gel, starting with this 150 grain Raptor first. Now, I think these are gonna do a really nice job in the gel down here. I'm curious to see what the speeds are through the optical chrono, which these didn't really have any kind of problems, so not a big deal, I guess, on these. Let's see what they do. All right. I believe that thing came completely apart, y'all. I don't know if it's designed to do that or not. Let me go see what we got. All right, sure enough, that thing segmented all the pieces. That was definitely not what I expected. Maybe it is designed to do that, and I just didn't see that. I looked on their website to add a little bit of info, and I didn't see anything about it segmenting, but maybe it's designed to do that. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, it happened immediately. So if it's not designed to do that, something went seriously wrong right there. Well, let's try this Hawk. I don't know what to expect from this Hawk now after seeing that. I have no idea. This thing, I don't know. What I will say is that kind of goofed me up because it took up almost a whole block as far as top to bottom. So I'm going to put this one on the back side, and then I'm going to flip the block on its side so give y'all a good view of everything. Let's see what this does. I'm most curious about the speed on this one, actually. All right. I think I saw some smoke come out the far end. Let me go see what I got. All right, y'all, let's check out what we got down here. I would say I'm disappointed in these rounds, but I'm used to it from 10 mil by now. You know, I'm used to being disappointed by 10 mil. Either they're loaded weak, they don't perform like they're supposed to. It's just one thing after another with 10 mil. And these two rounds, I hate to even say it, but you know, it just keeps on going with that same trend. So I got you flipped over, so this is actually a top view compared to how you were looking at it. So on the bottom here, that's the Raptor, the 150 150 grain copper, and then right here, that's the 200 grain Hawk. So we'll start with the Raptor down here. Again, I don't know if this is how this was supposed to perform. If this was how this is supposed to perform, and it is a segmenting round, then it did just what it was supposed to, I guess. So what you got, as you can see, immediate fragmentation, segmentation, whatever you want to call it. As soon as it came in here within the first inch, it segmented, lost all 4 pedals. One of them went out the side, so we saved 3 of them. Kept on trucking, the base of it did, into this second block, and it's just about halfway into this second block is the base of that projectile. Obviously no kind of expansion because it's nothing but the core of it left. And then on the top, the 200 grain Hawk, this is the one I had hopes for and was hoping that it would perform well. I think this right here is a projectile problem. That projectile looks very, very basic. I mean, very, very basic. As you can see, it comes in here, no expansion at all. That disruption is just plainly from a projectile going through the gel, all the way through the first block, all the way through the second block, and straight out the end of the second block. I didn't even bother putting another one because that was right at 1200, I think 1190. So it wasn't a speed issue. I think the problem right here is purely a projectile design issue. And now some people might say, oh, well, it's a hunting round, but these are marketed as both. It plainly says on the package, defensive and hunting round, or defensive and hunting ammo. So it's supposed to be for both purposes. And even in hunting purposes, an expanding hollow point should actually expand. So let's see what kind of penetration this Raptor actually got. The 150 Raptor, the core of it is all the way out here to 23.5 inches. And your pedals here, they look exactly the same distance, right at 4 inches for all 3 of those pedals. And then of course, no measurement needed for the Hawk. It went a full 32 plus inches. And then here's your close-up look again on the top there. That's the 200 grain Hawk. We'll follow it first all the way through the first block, passes into the second block here, keeps on trucking. It's that little line on the top and all the way out the end down there. And then back down here to the 150 Raptor, you can see immediate segmentation. As soon as it enters the gel, you can see your 3, well, you can see 2 of them, and then one of them's on the back side, one of them went out. But then you keep on following it through the block here. That was the core going. It goes down a little bit right there. And then I think you can see it there, completely independent. So none of this stuff was affected by running into any other tracks. All right, y'all, let's take a look at this one projectile that we call, this is the 150 grain Raptor, of course. As you can see there, I mean, it broke off. The pedals broke off just like a segmenting round is designed to do. So this may be designed as a segmenting round and I'm just calling it wrong here. But again, I didn't see anything on their site. I'll look before while I'm editing this video. And if I do see that it is supposed to segment it like this, I'll leave some notes in the video. But as you can see there with the base, the pedals broke off all the way around, all 4 of them cleanly. And there's the pedals themselves where there's 3 of them, and then we lost the third one out the side. But let's weigh these pieces and see what we got. So it was a total of 150. If we take the base there, which is probably most important, that's 105.0. So if we add a pedal back here, we've got 115.8, so it looks like that one was about 11 grains. If we add another one, we've got 127.2, so again, 11, 12 grains. And if we add the third one, we've got 139. So again, if we were to add that last pedal back, that would be our 150. And then as far as sizes, there's probably not really a big need for this, but I'll measure the base. You got 393 and 0.40, and then a length of 430. And then as far as the little pedals here, crossways, you got roughly 294, and then long ways, you're looking at about 372. And there you have it, y'all, the Raptor and Hawk 10mm rounds from Aria Ballistic Engineering. Both of these right here are a no-go for me personally. This copper round, I'm not a fan of light for caliber stuff anyway, so right out the get-go, it wasn't my favorite thing. And the way this stuff's segmented, I'm definitely not a fan of that. Again, I don't know if that's what this is supposed to do. Again, I'll leave some notes in the video if I look and see that it is supposed to do this. If it's supposed to fragment like this, then this makes absolutely no sense because you got that fragmentation and then you still got massive penetration. So as a hunting round, you know, I don't know. Again, I'm not an engineering expert when it comes to ammo, but I can tell you as a consumer, I would not want something like this. And same goes with the Hawk that went completely through both blocks of gel here. That stuff did not expand. That's supposed to be an expanding hollow point. There's no doubt about that one right there. Again, marketed as defense and hunting round. Now, if you're out there going that wild game, would that do the trick? Absolutely, if you put it in the right place. But that is not how that round is designed to be. And again, as a consumer, when I'm getting something, when I'm paying for something, when I'm expecting it to do what it claims to do, and it doesn't, to me, that's an absolute failure. All right, y'all, that's gonna do it for another 10 mil test. And with the temperature dropping quick out here and my blocks full of tracks, that's probably gonna wrap it up for the day for me. Definitely not the type of test I'd like to end things out with out here, but it is what it is. I mean, y'all know how 10 mil is. I'm very picky about 10 mil anyway, and this stuff right here just plain old did not perform. Now, again, if that copper round is supposed to be a segmenting round, I'll leave some notes in the videos, and that's my bad right there. But even if it is, you got just early fragmentation right there. What in the world is that going to do as far as hunting purposes? And then you got massive penetration, which most people, not me included, I know better than the whole over penetration junk, but a lot of people out there are going to have a fit over that type of penetration. I really was hoping for these to do well because again, I've got a few more rounds from them. I've got some 40, a couple more 10 millimeter rounds. It's a new company. I'd never heard of them, so I wanted it to do well. I'm always wanting every single round out here to do well. I never come out here with the intention of making any company look bad, any round look bad. The rounds and the companies do it for themselves out here. But I ain't gonna turn this one into another big 10 mil rant. Y'all already know how I feel about it. Let me know down in the comments what y'all think about the performance from these two rounds. Have you ever heard of this Aria Ballistic Engineering? If you have, do you carry anything from them, 10 mil or any other caliber? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you've got your notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload new stuff. A reminder again to check out the affiliate links in the video description. Anything you buy after hitting up those links down there, I get a kickback from them toward the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to John for sending this ammo out to me, all my Range Gang members, and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel like y'all do. I've had a lot of fun out here, even though the majority of the tests didn't go how I wanted them to go. I've got a lot more stuff planned, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.